like it to be a little bit more of a cheese. And then hopefully this doesn't, I'm not trying to seal the sides since this isn't like anything that I oiled or anything ahead of time. Just really took my chances. Merry meet and welcome. I'm Taylor, and today we're going to be talking about these dairy-free cheese wheels. So I really wanted to do the vegan version of a ham and brie pie from a waitress, as you'll see later on. And what she does is she like cuts up a whole brie cheese wheel, and that's how she like pinwheels them into it. And I really wanted that visual as well. So I searched high and low, and this is what I found. And so it really is more, it has, well, we'll go through all of everything that's in here. But yeah, it has 3 mixtures within it: mozzarella, cheddar, and brie. And let's just go ahead and open it up and see what we're getting ourselves into with it. So I know it might be a little hard to see, but we do have the instructions here for how to do all of the things and the different ways that you can mix and match. We'll get into that in a moment. And then we have if you want to make a cheese sauce versus just making the wheels, and then just some support for the company itself and their other products. And then we do have the measurements for using the agar powder, which is really nice considering that this is something that can just be true, and like you can really apply everything that is inside of here to just making cheese later on as well. And then also tells you all the equipment that you're going to need in order to actually make a cheese wheel. So this is really great to know. And then the other thing too is that it doesn't provide a wheel mold. So this means that you can create whatever shape you want your cheese to be in. You can find a mold for it and use those molds. So definitely feel free to get very creative with it. But if you're wanting a wheel mold, it does say that you can just use a small soup bowl or 2 ramekins. Like I myself am just going to be using like my standard bowls that I like to use that have a nice bottom to them, and it'll look like a wheel when the cheese comes out of them. And then it does have some different methods for making mozzarella balls themselves instead of making it into a wheel. So of course you have both options. And so getting into what actually comes with the pack after all that information, we have our agar powder, which looks like it's probably more than enough for what we need, which is great for future products. And then we have brie or classic mozzarella. So we're going to be using brie for this. And then we have cheddar. So we're going to use cheddar with a cashew mixture. It is said to be one of the stronger bases. So we're going to see exactly how firm we can get our cheese wheel. And then we have our herbed mozzarella. So this is the one that we're going to use for our mozzarella ball mixture instead. And we're going to use a cauliflower base for it as well, because it says that that doesn't need to be so firm or soft. And then I'm going to be using beans for our brie mixture, because for the ham and brie pie, I just think having that beans as the aftertaste, if there is any aftertaste, would be more beneficial than anything else. So I'm kind of sacrificing structure for flavor, but that's just the way it goes. So yeah, this is our little dairy wheel mixture. I'll have it linked below if you want to work with this company and get all of these things. But it is really great because it does also have all the ingredients on the side. So, sorry, wrong side. It has all the ingredients on the side, so it does let you know it lets you know the ingredients that they put in. So if you wanted to recreate anything, it makes it super easy to do it. And there's just a lot of information within just this little container. So again, feel free to check out the link below for more if you want to look at that. I found them simply because I really wanted that brie wheel of cheese. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. Merry meet. We're back again to get started on our first cheese mixes. So just going through the steps, we have first one is choose your wheel mix. And so we're going to be starting with cheddar. And then since for cheddar, we're going to be testing exactly like how firm we can get this cheese wheel, and just kind of like how the procedure tests out in itself. Just no stakes essentially. So for that, step 2 is to prepare and choose your base. Or rather choose and prepare one base. And so we're going with the 1 cup of soaked raw cashews. So this has been soaked overnight. Now step 3 is we're going to go ahead and blend up 1 cup of water with our base. I'm just gonna put this right here because this is what I'm following and I keep looking away and it's doing terrible for editing. I'd rather just like be able to go all at once. Anyways, so we have our water, we have our base. Now we're going to add our 1 wheel mix of cheddar. I don't know about you guys, you can technically, like, it's a blender, you should be able to add it all up in one place and it'd be fine, but I'm one of those people who has to add it all around. I sprinkle it all around it. Okay, cheddar added. Now we're going to add our measured agar powder, and so for this one it's 1 tablespoon. Same thing, I like to make sure I get it all around. And so if you were making a sauce, you would skip the powder because you wouldn't want it to blend. And then this is optional, but I can't resist, so I'm doing 2 tablespoons of olive oil. All right, let's go ahead, blend this up until smooth. Okay, that is smooth. We're gonna go ahead and take this over to the stove. Okay, so we have our mixture. It poured really easily. It's super liquidy right now. I'm pretty sure the agar doesn't start until it gets heated. So we're gonna go ahead, turn this on. I have a gas stove, if you couldn't guess. And then essentially we want to have it simmer while stirring for 5 to 6 minutes, and just until it gets like thick or glossy. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and do that, and then once it's done, we're gonna go ahead, check back in with you, show you the texture before we pour it into our little bowl here. So, and then that's going to give us our beer mold, essentially. Check in with you soon. All right, so this has gotten super thick. I don't know if it's easy to tell or maybe with the glare or not, but it has also gotten pretty glossy. So we're gonna go ahead and pour this into our mold. So it's like it to be a little bit more of a cheese. And then hopefully this doesn't, I'm not trying to seal the sides since this isn't like anything that I oiled or anything ahead of time. Just really took my chances. Because essentially however this looks is how it's going to set. So I just want it to look pretty decent, pretty good, something I can slice into. But that looks pretty good to me. So now that we have it into our mold, we're going to go ahead, allow this to cool for a minimum of 15 minutes in the fridge, and we'll see how it looks after. See you later. Merry meet again, guys. All right, let's go ahead and get started on our next dairy wheel, or dairy-free wheel, I should say. So step 1, you're going to choose your wheel mix, and so we're doing our Brie. This is also can be the classic mozzarella, so very interesting. Probably comes down maybe to the base that you use, as well as maybe just the formation that you end up going down, like if you do the ice bath. But we're not doing the ice bath for this one. We definitely want to get Brie out of this, and so hopefully we still get exactly what we want, because we really want this to be like a Brie cheese wheel. So with that, it's going to be a lot of the same things, which is really great. We just switched up our base, which this is going to be 1 cup of cooked white beans. So let's go ahead and get this all added to our blender. 1 cup of water again. With our base. Our 1 wheel mix. Then our agar powder, which for this one is going to be the 2 teaspoons. So I will say, since this is significantly less, or I guess not really less, it's only 1 teaspoon less than the cheddar. So depending on upon how firm things go, it might be due to the beans. They do have that softer texture, but it might be due to not having as much agar powder. So just some things to consider as we move forward in our experimentations. And then same thing again, it says that you can optionally add 2 tablespoons of mild oil. So we're doing that still here with adding 2 tablespoons of olive oil. All right, same thing. We're gonna go ahead, blend this up, and then we're gonna transfer it over into our little sauce pot or saucepan. See there? All right, into the saucepan we are. So this one you'll notice is a lot thinner, so that I'm definitely going to contribute to the whatchamacallit, the cashews, because they do have just that more like, they just soak up water and they're just so they have so much body to them. So we definitely are already seeing how the cheddar block is going to probably be our thickest or our firmest. And so already holding true. So going to be very interesting if maybe we should have added extra agar powder, but we're just gonna let the test hold true. Thank you for being on this journey with me, because this is just more to be like, hey, you know what, why not just see how all these things happen? And you know, I'm gonna keep that little box and experiment further on making these kind of cheeses again, because I just think it's so fun. And it is also a fun way to make sure that you're still adding protein, because I feel like a lot of vegan cheeses on the market are just have no protein value to them, unlike cheese that naturally has protein to it. But this is thickening up, so we're going to go ahead, pay attention to this as it thickens up, and then we're going to pour it into the mold soon. See you then. Okay, so we are already seeing that it is, even while it did get thick and we could still recognize the difference, we are still recognizing that it has a much more easier texture to work with when forming. So very excited to see how this firms up, but we'll see you guys when we get to that. Merry meet again to start on our third and final cheese. So we have our herbed mozzarella, and we're going to be using it with our steamed of cauliflower over here. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself, just got so excited. So all still the same steps. We have this, here's our base. It is just 1.5 cups of steamed cauliflower, and then adding everything again, we have 1 cup of water. Cauliflower base, one wheel mixture, that one made a bit of a mess, so that's on me. Maybe be more careful. And then I'm pleased to announce that the packet comes with the exact amount that you do need. And then so for our herbed mixture, we need 2.5 teaspoons of agar powder. And then as always, the 2 tablespoons of mild oil is optional, but we'll be adding to here our olive oil. So we'll blend this until smooth and then go add it into our saucepan. See you then. Okay, so we have our mixture in our saucepan. So definitely, if you don't like cauliflower, don't recommend using it as one of the bases, because it definitely smells like it. I love it. I think it smells so good, and I think it's going to go really well with this herb base. So yeah, so we're going to let this gloss and thicken over medium-high heat, just like the others. And then the difference though this time is we're going to use an ice cream scoop. This is gonna be more about 2 tablespoons rather than the 1/4 cup, so about half the size. It's just what I have because I want the scoop in case it is a little bit of a sticky batter. Otherwise, you can use directly a 1/4 cup. So we'll see how things go, and you may determine like, oh, 1/4 cup is totally fine, and I may determine that as well and recommend it. But then we're going to drop them into this ice bath, and that's where we're going to leave them for 10 minutes. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and test this out, see how it goes with our 2 tablespoons. It's still really not that thick. So yeah, we're just gonna drop and plop. Oh, that's gonna doesn't look the best. So that one went a little bit better. We're gonna do this a couple of times, then I'm gonna do a couple with the you know what I'm trying to say. I'm gonna leave it there. I'm not improving with this. I definitely see how they say it takes practice, because it essentially, yeah, you can totally see what's happening. There's no way you can't. Yeah, and then that's insane for me to touch with my bare finger right now. This is so hot. I just said, I guess I don't need this appendage today. Okay, so I'm gonna try it maybe only once with this, we'll see. Yeah, and then it is like decently sticky to where it sticks to that, so definitely need some practice with this. Am I gonna practice right now? No, because I just don't like how it's looking, honestly. And I want to use this mozzarella to make pizza, so I can have the effect I want by just going ahead and using a bowl. So that is what I'm gonna do. We'll still use this ice bath and taste test those and see how it goes. But we're gonna go ahead and just throw the rest of this in here and make a standard wheel. Nice. So same thing as the beans, this cauliflower is a lot softer, so it looks like it is reasonable that they probably product tested that the cashews are probably going to be your best bet for being firm. And then of course there were a couple of other options, but the main thing was like using nut or seed over a vegetable or a legume. But let's go ahead, we're going to put all these in the fridge, let them go over, and then we'll review and see what happens. Talk to you soon. Merry meet again. So we have our finished cheeses here. As you can see, I went ahead and tried a little bit of our cheddar wheel here. So maybe you can tell which one's which. If you can, even better. What we have though is this is our cheddar wheel. I will say it does come across tasting of like kind of a mild cheddar, so definitely passes the test. It's a very like, it's kind of soft, and this actually it's been a bit longer than 15 minutes, so these have kept in their same shape, same taste, everything for the last couple of days just in the bowl, which is really nice. For melting, since they're like kind of softer already, they like somewhat melt, like they're willing to melt, but because of the agar, they don't melt completely. So it'll be fun to test that out with a brie because we're using that for a pie, and then for the mozzarella because we're going to be using that for a pizza, both things that require them to melt a little bit more. But I had this on like on a mushroom burger, and it just didn't melt very well in there, but maybe I didn't give it enough time. So anyways, cheddar turned out really well. The mold turned out perfect. This is what it looks like. This is the herbed mozzarella. If you recall, we tried to do the ice method. This is, if you can kind of see how like it dropped out of the scoop. And they look like dumplings. I'm being honest, right? Like gnocchi, like potato dumplings. But I did go ahead and try this, and they taste pretty good. They definitely taste like the herbs. So I'm very interested because the Brie it was Brie or mozzarella versus just the herbed mozzarella. And so you do still get a little bit of that mozzarella taste, but I have some other plant-based mozzarella that just has the flavor so much more. But you know, this is like a little kit, do it yourself kind of thing. For those results, you definitely get what you want, and I'm actually very excited to put this on top of a margherita pizza. I think the herbs are gonna just kind of enhance it, and we're gonna have a good time with it. But yes, and then I wanted to show you, so this is kind of more what the top of the bowl looked like, and then because you can see like how it went into the bottom. So then this is the other form. That's how you can see the cheddar wheel. But yeah, so you can, like, they look really good, and I just used a like standard bowl. It might be considered, I don't think it's considered a soup bowl because a soup bowl has like those handles on it. I'm rambling, I know. Thank you for being here. But anyway, so mine was more of like a cereal bowl, like a large cereal bowl or something like that. Anyway, so then this is the Brie. I definitely feel like it looks like Brie. Since it is softer, it's still Brie, you know, like gets that casing on and whatnot. Not necessarily too important, like, for what we're trying to accomplish since we're baking it into a pie, but we did still want the aesthetic and all of that jazz. Anyways, so I did taste a little bit of it, and it does still have that like a little bit more mild taste. I think it's been a really long time since I've had Brie, so I hope I am not confusing it with Gouda, if I'm being super honest. But I feel like the taste is too mild to call it Brie. I feel like Brie has a little bit more of a tangy taste. So we'll see if maybe that comes out a little bit more. I only had a little bit because we're gonna see how much of this fits into the pie, because it might be all of it. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. But for the most part, this went really well. Very exciting to just play with agar for the first time, and to now just have so much cheese options. Like, you will be seeing a grilled cheese, you will be seeing a margherita pizza, you'll be seeing a ham and brie pie. Ham and brie pie. Anyways, those were terrible quotations. I'm gonna go ahead and leave it here. I want to thank you guys for being here again, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.